I'm Trisha. Welcome back. In today's video, I am going to be doing my second reading rundown of 2019. So I find that I am really liking this format. It allows me a little bit more freedom to film when I feel like I have content to film rather than feeling obligated to read and feel like I'm on a deadline to read something by the end of the month. And then if I don't have enough read by the end of a month, that I have lack of content to produce a wrap-up video. So I'm liking this format so much better. And so I will link my first reading rundown of 2019 in the cards for you. I wrapped up 6 books, and in today's video, I'm going to be wrapping up 5 more. For the 7th book that I read in 2019, I started off with Blood, Water, Paint by Joy McCullough. I actually got a copy of this book from Kara from Wild Book Garden for Christmas. I had my eye on it after seeing her talk about it on her channel. It was one of her favorite reads of 2018, and I was really looking forward to it. And I was so surprised to find a copy of this in the mail from her for Christmas last year. Blood, Water, Paint is a historical fiction about Artemisia Gentileschi. She is a real woman who lived in the 1600s in Rome, and she was a painter at the time. Now she's iconic, but back then she was painting in the shadows. She was creating these masterpieces that her father was taking credit for. In 1610, she was raped, and she was faced with the decision on whether or not she was going to keep her silence or tell the truth no matter the cost. This was absolutely breathtaking. I cannot rave enough how much I enjoyed this. The way that it was told was partially in verse and partially in prose, and I thought that it was so important and such a heartbreaking and beautiful story to be told, but it was a story that did need to be told. The formatting in which it was written evoked so much emotion for me. I cannot rave enough how much I enjoyed this. I am probably going to end up putting this on one of my top lists for the year. I ended up giving this 5 out of 5 stars. I do want to mention some content warnings for this story. It does deal with sexual assault, misogyny, abuse, victim blaming, suicidal thoughts, and murder. The 8th book that I read in 2019 was Becoming by Michelle Obama. I did this on audiobook, and it was narrated by Michelle Obama. I really enjoyed the way that it was written. I felt like I could really feel her passion and her devotion for her goals in life. I really enjoyed the way that it was structured because all of the anecdotes from when she was younger really helped build the story for the later half of the book. I felt that everything that was included in there was necessary for the building of showing us how she became the woman that she is. So I really enjoyed this. I did end up giving it 4.5 out of 5 stars. My 9th read for 2019 was Monstrous Volume 1 by Marjorie M. Liu and Sana Takeda. This is a beautiful silk punk graphic novel about a young woman who is struggling to survive a war between the Kumeya and the Arcanics, all while she is struggling against a psychic link that she has with a mysterious monster. This has absolutely stunning artwork. I really gravitated towards the darker style that it has. I haven't seen a lot of things in a styling like this that I felt that I would enjoy the story. I really liked the world building in this. I think that it's a beautiful world full of gods and monsters and demons and all of this amazing magic. And the only downfall to this is that there was a lot going on, so I felt that sometimes I had to reread a page or two to fully understand what was going on. But I highly anticipate picking up the second volume in this series, and I ended up giving this 4 out of 5 stars. My 10th read for 2019 was the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin. I did this on audiobook and it was narrated by Robin Miles. The 5th season is a story that takes place in a world where seismic activity happens to send humanity to the brink of extinction many times over. Throughout the story, we follow 3 perspectives. The first perspective is a woman who returns home one afternoon to find out that her husband has murdered their 3-year-old son and kidnapped their daughter. The next is the perspective of a young girl who is locked away by her family to keep her hidden because she is starting to manifest powers. And then the third perspective is a young woman who is sent on a mission with a older, more powerful magic user so that they can help save a town. That's kind of all that I'm going to say about what the story is about and how it's structured. I really didn't know much going into this other than it, won a Hugo Award, and that a lot of people have really enjoyed it, and the audiobook really blew me away. I was really hesitant at first because one of the perspectives is set in second person, but the more that I got into it, the more that I felt that it really served the story. It really evoked a lot of emotion from me and really helped me connect to the character that perspective was from. So that ended up being one of my favorite parts of this novel. I really enjoyed the world building. The world was fantastic and complex and had a really unique and interesting magic system, so I really enjoyed that. The downfall to this, just like Monstrous, is that there was a lot going on throughout the story. It is quite a chunky novel, and if I wasn't paying attention well enough while listening to the audiobook, I could find myself confused at times. So I think that may have hurt the rating a little bit. I do anticipate picking up the second and third in this series. I ended up giving this somewhere between a 3.75 and 4 out of 5 stars. And my 11th read for 2019 was The River at Night by Erica Frenerick. This is a story about 4 women who have been friends for many years, and they every year get together for a girls' trip to reconnect with each other and catch up on each other's lives. This year they are convinced by the most adventurous and outgoing of the group to go on a whitewater rafting trip through Maine. While they are there, tragedy strikes and then things start to go downhill from there. It was pegged as a thriller and was recommended to me by one of my previous coworkers. She raved about it, thought that it could happen here in Oregon, possibly somewhere near where we live. And I was honestly disappointed in this. I am going to do a short spoiler-free review on this, but all I can say is that to make this as short as possible was the characters were really flat and one-dimensional. The pacing was really poorly done. There were some nice sections that were beautifully written as far as describing scenery, but then that was counterbalanced with really poorly written sections. I didn't really fear for the characters' lives at all throughout this, and I ended up giving it 1.5 out of 5 stars. All right, so those are the next 5 books that I read in 2019. Let me know in the comments down below if you have read any of these books and what were your thoughts on them. And now is the perfect time, if you've not already done so, click that little subscribe button down below if you'd like to see more content from me, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!